Hi all, welcome to i-tutor Academy. In today's session, we will start with the unit 13, subsection 4 of MMPC 010, that is peak load pricing. So what is peak load pricing? It is a type of third degree price discrimination degree. This degree price discrimination we discussed in last subsession. So please refer last video, in which the discrimination base is temporal. We single out this particular form of price discrimination in part because of its widespread use. But remember that all forms of third degree price discrimination, including peak loading price, involve a seller attempting to capitalize on the fact that buyers' demand elasticities vary. In the case of peak loading pricing, customer demand elasticities vary with the time, and very few, if any, business economic activities are characterized by an absolute constant demand during all season of the year and at all times of day. And for many, the variations of fluctuations are not large enough to be of concern, but for some activities, fluctuations in demand are significant. So these variations are sometimes relatively stable and predictable. Hotel booking prices for vacation sport are good example of peak load pricing. Okay, so that's activity based on this is here. Please try to do it. Any doubts, you can contact us anytime. Next is bundling. What is bundling? You must have come across a campaign of following kind: buy one get to the second hand half price. A camera is sold in a box with a free tripod. A hotel room often come with a complimentary breakfast. These are examples of bundling. Bundling is the practice of selling two or more separate products together for a single price. So bundling takes place when goods or service which could be sold separately are sold as package. And a codification of bundling practice and the definition of selling strategies is pure bundling, that is product are sold only as bundles. Mixed bundling, that is product are sold both separately as a bundle. And tying, the purchase of the main product, that is trying product, required the purchase of another product, that is tied product, which is generally an additional complementary product. So this is not an exhaustive list but covers the most frequently encountered cases. Pure bundling involves selling two products only as a package and not separately. So pure bundling, that is price is here bundled product, product and product. So that is the bundle. So for example, Microsoft Office 365 is available as bundle of different applications such as Word, Excel, Access, PowerPoint, Outlook, OneNote, etc. Okay, so that is the best example. And mixed bundling is there, and an American fast food company are example of mixed bundling. The Times of India, the Economic Times, can be purchased together for weekdays for a price much less than if purchased separately. So this is also example of mixed bundling. Okay, so this is the chart for mixed bundling. And tying involves purchase of the main product, that is tying product, along with the purchase of another product, that is tied product, which is generally an additional complementary product. So lead product, that is tie in product. And customers who leased a photocopying machine had to buy photocopy paper. Another case of tying was that by Kodak, in which Kodak held a monopoly in the market for Kodak copiers part. Kodak engaged in tying when it refused to sell its part to consumers or independent service providers except in connection with a Kodak service contract. Today, when you buy a Marsh 3 Razor, you must buy the tied product, the cartridge that fits into the March 3 Razor. Okay, and financial bundling has become widespread. Manufacturing is becoming the loss leader of the profit chain for many companies. In other words, give away the product, make money on the lending that is bundled with it. And in India too, a number of automobile companies are providing finance and bundling the automobile with the finance. And bundling can be good for consumers. It can reduce search cost as well as the producers distribution cost. So there are lower transaction cost, and the producer may be a more efficient bundler than the customer. Few of us choose, after all, to buy the individual part of a computer to assemble them ourselves. In perfectly competitive market, bundling should happen only if it is more efficient than selling the product separately. Where there is less than a perfect competition, that is, most market economic models suggest that bundling sometimes benefit consumers and sometimes producers. When firms have a measure of market power, they can engage in price discrimination, charging different prices to different customers. Bundling can play a part in price discrimination, as different bundles of goods and prices may appeal to different customers. In a celebrated case that got much media attention, Microsoft was accused of anti competitive conduct in bundling Internet Explorer and Windows as pure bundle. Okay, and activity 3 based on this subsection is here. Please do it. And next one is two-part tariff. So what is two-part tariff? One of their technique required buyers to pay fee for right to purchase their product, and then to pay regular price per unit of the product. For example, mobile telecom operators A, B, etc. used to charge a monthly fixed charge and then additional charges based on usage for their postpaid plan. The free for privileges of service plus price for service consumed is called a two-part tariff. Theme parks such as DW usually employ such a pricing scheme to increase their profit. To see how the scheme works, suppose you operate a theme park and have a local monopoly, and figure 13.3 is demand for rides is here. So now let us see if a bit more can be extracted from each tourist. Given the demand curve drawn, each tourist would be willing to pay more than $24 to enter your theme park and take 4 rides. Okay. So here is rides per visit and price also here. So please refer this and also read it from your IGNOU study material. It will more clear. And a two-part tariff is often a good way to increase profit by extracting some but not all of the consumer surplus from monopolist client. A two-part tariff often a good way to increase profit by extracting some but not all of the consumers surplus from a monopolist client. Monopolists usually experiment with the various two-part tariff pricing scheme before hitting on the one that give them maximum profit. And when theme park amusement ride opened, it was first amusement park of its kind in Mumbai, and so had no precedent to go by, and as the objective was to sell the concept to as many people as possible, it avoided charging a composite fee. For stiff entrance fee would keep families away. Okay, so you just once read this section. These are the example of all things, so and simple concept. So for more MBA series, you just do like, share and subscribe our channel. Thank you.
i-tutor Academy presents IGNOU MBA Complete Syllabus Coverage Classes for individual students, semester-wise subject with online flexible timing. For more details, contact on +91 623 827 1885